So just appreciate all the Ministry Village does and the people who are involved in it. And so this is sort of night just to say thank you to those of you who helped so much, for Joe and others who helped do so much for us at the Ministry Village. And so just a word of appreciation, thank you for guys being on board and staff. We're so thankful for you guys. And so I'm just going to open up some more prayer and we'll leave. Sounds good. Father, thanks for tonight. Thanks for all that you do for us. And thank you so much for the blessings that you give us to be able to have an opportunity to minister to other people. And so, Lord, each and every day we're able to just see and sense your hand in our lives and the things that you do there at the Ministry Village. And we're just excited for this opportunity to fellowship together. Thanks so much to the ones who are here, for all that they give to serve and support financially, personally, within the context of this ministry. We're just grateful for it. Thank you for the food. Bless it to us in your name, I pray.
Amen. We're going to ask the sheriff and Ronnie to go ahead to the servant table and everybody else to sort of get the meal was done by A Better Bite, the caterers out of Monroe, and we appreciate them getting a delicious meal for us tonight, and appreciate the Lord giving us a beautiful day. And we're so glad that all of y'all are here tonight. One of the things that we do at the Ministry Village, we do all types of counseling along with working with DFACS, the court system, and working with victims of abuse. We do a lot of family marriage counseling. We help bring husbands and wives together. We help husbands and wives to help parents to deal with their children. And I've got my baby's 25, and so I used to be an expert in raising children and teaching people how to raise their children until I had one. And I had all these materials written up and all these tapes and everything, and I threw them all away because nothing worked with Anna. But anyway, she's turned out to be a pretty good girl. She's 25 now, but she's my baby. But anyway, we just so glad that all of y'all are here. And we have, I'll mention one thing about my wife. I appreciate all your praying. She did spend Thursday and Friday at Eastside. She was on her way to work and had all the symptoms of a heart attack. And so I ran her up to Eastside, and they ran every battery of tests on her, but they felt like that it was a low blood sugar episode that stimulated all these symptoms and everything. So they tested her out. She came home last night about 7. Wanted to be here, but just too weak. And so I brought my beautiful niece Pam. She's here with us. She's a teacher at Shiloh Christian School down in Morgan County, and used to teach at LCA. She actually taught Kirby in 2nd and 3rd grade, Kirby Kendall, back in the early days of LCA. But anyway, I'm glad all of y'all are here, and y'all just continue to eat. We've got a lot of desserts and tea, and enjoy that. But before we go any further, we've got a visitor from Miss Beulah May, and Miss Beulah May is going to come and share with us at this time. So let's have a hand for Miss Beulah May.
I put on my hat, and it's all messed up. Y'all don't know this, do you? Anyway, I did. Can you put this thing down for me? You know, I told Brother Jimmy, I said, Brother Jimmy, when he called me, he said, everybody wants y'all back. I said, no, Brother Jimmy. I said, I don't believe so. He said they did, and I said, well, I'm going to put a disclaimer on tonight, because this is the deal. Y'all don't like what I say, just take it up with this fella right here. Don't you come complaining to me. No, sirree. Because I got a lot I want to discuss with you tonight. See, I am an expert. I know all there is to know about raising youngins, because I raised 3 boys myself, so I know it all, see. And I'm going to come here and tell you what's wrong with our generation today. First of all, let me just say that half their problem is they want everything, and the other half is the mamas and the papas give it to them. You know, and y'all can laugh when you want to, because it don't make me feel so bad, you know. So I kind of like it. But anyway, so what I wanted to say to you is that you adults need to be real careful around your children. And when you're there, you need to watch what you say, and you need to watch what you do. Because if you don't, one of them little varmints is going to be sitting around somewhere taking all this in, and next thing you know, they're going to grow up just like one of you. Yes, sir, they are. Now, I had 3 boys, like I said. I ain't one of them, well, just one of them spent a little time in jail. That's it. And the other 2, well, the other one, the middle one, he's got these marks all over his face. and we're trying to teach him to eat with a fork. It's been really difficult. He's got the worst table manners I have ever seen. And the last one, the oldest one, he thinks he's Elvis. Every time you turn around, he's over there with his lip and just jerking up and, you know, and his leg and twisting and all this. And we just let him do it. We figured one day he's going to grow up and he ain't going to have no problems. Now, I'm going to tell you exactly what I have told my kids. I told them to appreciate a job well done. I always said, if you're going to fight, do it outside. Don't mess up my house. I just cleaned it. I also told them all about time travel. I told them, I said, if you don't straighten up, I'm going to knock you into the middle of next week. That's right. And I told them about consequences too. I told them that you better quit that crying, or I'll give you something to cry about. And when they go out, I told them to think ahead. Make sure they put on clean underwear, because they never know when they're going to be in an accident. And then, of course, I taught them to be self-sufficient. You know, kids are not all that self-sufficient anymore. If they went out, I'd say, look, you go out there and cut your foot off with that sling blade. Don't come running to me. And then I taught them about the circle of life. I brought you into this world, and I can take you out. And then religion, of course, I told them, you better pray that mule don't die. Now, I ain't got nothing against you. You do a wonderful job, Shannon. You know, teaching and counseling all those folks and everything. But I'm just going to tell you about Uncle Cletus, all right? Uncle Cletus had a problem. He couldn't sleep. And so he went down there to one of them psychiatrists. And the psychiatrist told him, said, I think we can help you out here. He said, what seems to be the problem? He said, well, when I go to bed at night, he said, I get real scared because I think there's somebody under the bed. And he said, well, I think we can do something about that. It'll take us about a year, 3 visits every week. Uncle Cletus asked him, said, how much is that going to cost? He said, $80 a visit. Well, Uncle Cletus seemed a smart man, but he began to think about that, and he thought that was an awful lot of money. So about 6 months later, he's walking downtown, and he runs into the old doc, and the doc said, well, Cletus, I didn't see you come in. He said, well, you know, he said, your price was a little steep for me, so I thought maybe I'd just save that money. Besides, the bartender cured me for $10. And with the rest of the money, I went and bought me a pickup. He said, well, what did the bartender do? He said, well, he told me to cut the legs off my bed. I did it. I ain't been scared of anybody under it since. So I told him, I said, you know, a little horse fence is stable advice. Well, you know, not only am I an expert on kids, I just tell you, I am an expert on marriage. I've been married to Joe for 32 long years. We took each other for better or worse. He took me for better, I took him for worse. No joke. It's been fun. It's been a real exciting thing. But you know, some people, they don't listen. They don't think about what they're doing. See, the good Lord tells us that we need to wait for that perfect person to come into our life, right? And if we don't, well, we can get in trouble. And you're going to know when that perfect person comes in your life, because your knees are going to start knocking like a woodpecker in the lumber yard. Well, I'll tell you, I got these 2 friends, and they didn't wait. No, sirree. They married the first fella that come along. And these 2 friends, they're the best friends you ever did see. They just love each other to death, but they argue all the time. They argue whose hens lays the most eggs. They argue about who makes the prettiest quilt, who can spit the feathers. It don't matter. They just argue all the time. Well, one day they got talking about the husbands, And old Regina said that her husband could make the biggest fool out of himself. And Wilhelma said no, she believed it was her husband. So they got in this big fight over it. Next thing you know, they said, well, I bet you. And so they bet each other. And it's going to take a week to set this thing up. Now, this is the story. Y'all got to stay with me here, okay? It's got all these little sections, so just stay. Well, anyway, old Wilhelma, she knew her husband. So she went home, and when he walked through the door, she said, oh, honey, Hank, you look so bad. She said, let me see. She said, are you feeling okay? He said, well, he thought he felt okay, but he was up to suggestions. You see, oh, Hank, he got sick no matter what. If anybody had a bellyache, he had one that was worse. If anybody was sneezing, he started sneezing. It didn't matter. When Wilhelma was going to have her last baby, he had morning sickness. I'm telling you, the man was sick all the time. So anyway, she said, well, come on over here and sit down. She said, and I'll take care of you. So she got out some medicine. She gave him a dose of medicine. She made him some chicken soup, and she put him to bed real early. Well, the next morning when he got up, she said, stick out your tongue and let me see. So he stuck his tongue out. She said, oh, no, you're not going to put that thing back in your mouth, are you? Well, by then he's thinking he must be in pretty bad shape. Now, when we go on over down to Regina's house, she's got a whole different tactic. She's sitting in the living room behind her weaving loom, and she's throwing that shuttle back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And the husband comes in, bang, one little thread, just one little thread in there. You know, she's just throwing it back and forth. Well, he got to looking. Old Fred was looking everywhere. And she said, let me just say that he said, well, what you doing, Regina May? And Regina said, well, can't you tell? She says, I'm weaving. This is the finest thread that's ever been made. Said it comes from virgin sheep, and it's got some wonderful qualities. If your husband tells a lie, he can't tell his wife, he can't see it. Oh, so Hank, he said, well, let me see. So he took off his glasses and he cleaned them up, and he got down there real close, and he's looking. He said, oh, Regina, that is the finest thread I believe I've ever laid my eyes on. And she just kept on working. He went on to bed. Well, next thing you know, William, she's over here, and she has done convinced poor old Fred that he was really, really sick. She done told him that she believed he was on his deathbed and it was soon to come. She even began to cry and moan over him, and he was moaning and crying. She told him that she had built his coffin and that she's going to need a little help while he still had some strength to get him over in it. Well, they lay there and cried a little while, and then she said, I'm going to get behind you now, and on the count of 3, I want you to roll. So she got behind him, and on the count of 3, she shook, and he rolled off the bed, flipped up, and he was face first up, right like that, facing up in his coffin. Well, he just laid there. Now, in the meantime, there at Regina's house, now, she's still been working. She's making something. And she told her husband, said, look, I done got it made. She says, I need for you to help me pick up that bolt of cloth and set it over on the table so I can spread it out and put it all up and everything. He said, all right. So he grabbed one end and started. She said, don't drag it on the floor. He didn't. They laid it out, smoothed it out. She began to cut, and he asked her what she's making. She said, well, I'm making you a suit. Can't you see? Oh, yeah, I can see it's a suit. I just didn't know it was for me. So he went on to bed, and she kept working. Well, next morning, he gets up, and she says, Hank, I got the suit finished. Come on down and try it on. So old Hank comes down, and she holds out what he thinks is the trousers, and he puts one foot in, then he puts the other foot in. Then she takes and says, lift your arms. He put them up in the air, and she slipped the shirt over his head. Then she said, back up into this, and he had the coat jacket, and so he backed up and stuck his arms in. She came up there, and she smushed it all out, and she was so proud of what she'd done, and he was so proud. And there he stood in the middle of the floor with nothing on but what the good Lord gave him and his boots. Now, over there at Regina's, she's still working on and make, oh, no, excuse me, not Will Emma's. Let's get back to Will Emma, I'm sorry. She's over there and she's done convinced and she's got him now in the coffin, and she wakes up that morning and she looks over in the coffin and she says, oh Lord, he died in the night. So he figured he must be dead. So he laid there real still, didn't say anything. She went on out and started telling the people in the community, spreading the word, telling them that they was going to have a funeral down there at the cemetery for everybody to meet. So she got a neighbor to help her put the coffin up on the wagon, and she took off down to the cemetery. Excuse me. And when she got about there, she looked over the hill, and here came Hank and Will Emma. Now, Hank was tickled to death and so proud as a peacock over his brand new suit, and thought he was real lucky that his wife got it finished in time for the funeral. He walks up down there and he's shaking everybody's hand, and people's looking a little shocked. What is going on? Next thing you know, they start giggling to themselves. And then they get in a full valley roar. Well, they're a laughing and a carrying on, and poor old Fred, he's over there in the coffin. He can't stand it. He can't see what's happening. So next thing you know, he sits up in the coffin just like this. And when he did, everybody scattered. They was running behind the monuments, behind the trees. They scared death. They thought they didn't see the ghost. Well, they got to peeping out because old Fred, he got to laughing so hard he about fell off that wagon at Hank. Hank didn't know what to do. They was peeping out, so then they said one by one started gathering around. They knew some funning was going on. Then that's when they found out that Regina May and Will Emma had made a bet to see which one of their husbands was the biggest fuel. And there they stood, both on display. And couldn't nobody to this day, if you see Regina and Will Emma up there anywhere, they'll still be fussing about whose husband was the biggest fool. Now, don't you think that's foolish? I do. You know what the moral to that story is? Don't be in such a hurry, fools rush in. All right, that's all I got to say about that, except in one thing, I can't leave without saying this. You need to take advice. Everybody needs to take advice from the good book, because this is what it said. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. Good night, folks.
Thank you, Beulah May. Appreciate that. Come all the way from Alabama to be with us tonight. She's always got something good. We one of the specialties at the Ministry Village is that we take people who are hurting, maybe people who are in grief, or maybe people that have been victims of abuse, and there's a lot of pain. And really, the Ministry Village is a mental health clinic. It's a mental health medical facility. We're even under some of the same guidelines that medical clinics are under, but we try to help people overcome their pain, help people overcome the hurts. There's a song that's been written, and Miss Shelley's going to come and sing it for us. It's called "The Hurt and the Healer." When someone has been in severe pain, and all of us from time to time go through this, whether it's death or whether it's just some type of trauma that comes to our life, we help through the power of the Holy Spirit, through the Lord, through compassion. We help these people find healing and find what they need to help them to overcome that. So Miss Shelley's going to come at this time, and she's going to sing this beautiful song. So listen to the words. Yes, yeah. We'll raise it back up a little bit. Yeah.
Oh glory meets my suffering. I'm alive, even though a part of me has died. I take my heart and breathe it back to life. I fall into your arms open wide, and the hurt and the healer collide. Breathe. Sometimes I feel it's all that I can do. Pain so deep that I can hardly move. Just keep my eyes completely fixed on you. Lord, take hold and pull me through. So here I am, what's left of me, where glory meets my suffering. I'm alive, even though part of me has died. Take my heart and breathe it back to life. I fall into your arms open wide, when the hurt and the healer collide. It's the moment when humanity is overcome by majesty, when grace is ushered in for good, and all our scars are understood, when mercy takes its rightful place, and all these questions fade away, when out of weakness we must bow to hear you say it's over now. I'm alive, even though a part of me has died. You take my heart and breathe it back to life. I fall into your arms open wide, and the hurt and the healer collide. When the hurt and the healer collide. When the hurt and the healer, Jesus, come and break my feet, wake my heart and take my tears, find your glory even here.
That's awesome. I know I've had times where that maybe I was going through a tough time, and to go and just find somebody that would listen, somebody that would understand. That's what our counselors do at the Ministry Village. They just walk beside you. We don't come and try to beat you over the head with all what we feel like are the right answers or the solutions, but walk beside you and help you come and let the Lord reveal those answers to you, so that you can understand how that God can put your life back together. And about, I guess, a year or two ago, I was going through just some questions, confusion, and I actually came to Ministry Village myself. I'm over there a lot, but I actually came there not as someone to work in Ministry Village, but someone that needed help. And I sat down with Chet, and he was so great to help me work through some issues in my life. And I appreciate him. He's just a dear friend and our director. And at this time, we're going to ask Chet Fowler to come and share with us about some of the great work that God is doing at the Ministry Village. Let's give Chet a hand.
This world is a tough place. One of my favorite verses is John 16:33, where Jesus himself said, I tell you the truth, in this world there will be trouble. But he goes on to say, but take heart, because I've overcome this world. It doesn't matter whether you're rich or poor. It doesn't matter where you live. You're going to have problems. You're going to have trouble in this world. And that's what we're there to do, is just to, as Jimmy said, walk alongside people. And that's what we try to do more than anything. One of the neat things that's happened here recently with at First Baptist, and I know a lot of you are from First Baptist Loganville, we've really taken an emphasis on certain values, and rescue being one of those. And that's really what the Ministry Village has been about all along. It's really neat to see that the church has really recognized that as one of the core values, and we're doing a lot working together. Wayne Noggle and I will be working together on a lot of different projects that all center around rescue. One of the newest projects that we've got is called Project Jumpstart. And Project Jumpstart really is all about coming along beside people that are at a point of needing rescue. And at that point where they need rescue, they just stalled out in their life. Kind of like a car that stalls out. Sometimes all it takes is just a jump start. Hook up the jumper cables and you can get them back on their way. And so that's what we're hoping to do with this program. It's not a homeless shelter. It's not a rehabilitation center. What we're hoping to do is just come alongside people that have gotten to the point in their life where things just have broken down. And we're trying to take away all the things in their life that help them to get to that point, and offer a lot of resources to help them move forward. Some of those resources are counseling, some of it is budgeting. Oftentimes it may be transportation. You know, the biggest issue so often is people that end up homeless don't have jobs, therefore they don't have income coming in, they don't have a place to live, and it's all kind of a cycle. So we're hoping to come alongside, help them to get jobs, help them to be self-sustaining. And that's what Project Jumpstart is about. We've been fortunate, blessed really, to have already several people that have gone through it. In fact, I want to introduce one that has been so gracious to come tonight and talk a little bit about what Project Jumpstart has meant in his life, and that's John Hurd. So John, if you come up now. John's going to share a little bit about Project Jumpstart. He was actually our first participant in Project Jumpstart. So, y'all welcome John.
My name is John Hurd. Actually, it's Reverend John Hurd. I spent probably the last 12 and a half years almost working at the Atlanta Mission, in a program called the Potter's House. And I knew God had worked in my life incredibly. And back in August, I had some issues in the home, and my wife asked me to leave. And as a result, I also lost my job, and I didn't know where to turn. So what happened, I was talking to my pastor over, and I'm assigned to a church in Flowery Branch, where I also teach at EUI school. And he had mentioned Chet, and he had helped him through a rough time. And I was able to go talk with Chet, and I thought it was just to get some counseling. But he asked me if I needed some time to have a place to stay, to kind of sort things out, and he'd walk with me. I heard Jimmy talk about compassion. And the word compassion really signifies suffering with someone. And that's what, more than anything, what I was given in Project Jumpstart. I didn't know what I needed, and it was just, my life went from one extreme to the other, and it unraveled right before my eyes. And I didn't know how to kind of get put in the right direction. And I got involved with, because of Project Jumpstart, it was right after Labor Day. And, they blessed me with a place to stay. I had some income, I had a job. I had a house, which I'm in the process of getting back. And, I had, like I said, long-term, worked for a ministry for 12 and a half years. Had a church support, but a very small church. So I had a lot of the pieces that I needed, but I couldn't see what I needed at this point. And I think that's what Project Jumpstart really tried to offer. First me, and then over these past few months I've been affiliated with them where I've seen what they've done to help families. In fact, you know, I was offered to stay there for the first month, and then a family needed a place to stay. And immediately said, yes, I'll leave. But a family from the church offered me a place to stay, a one-bedroom apartment. Because again, everything was just falling apart in my life. So the church was incredible. I've worked in ministry, working with the homeless, working in prisons for, like I said, about 15 years, because I worked with the federal prison as well. But First Baptist Loganville showed me what a church really should be. The ministry, the unconditional love was one of the first things that God said in this journey for me was, I don't care how much you do for me, I want you to know how much I love you. And for a long time, I've been a human doing instead of a human being. So I wasn't able to really receive the love. I poured out a lot. I emptied myself for a long time. But I really hadn't taken the time to receive the love that First Baptist Loganville Ministry Village offered me. I'm very grateful. Jimmy, I attended some classes with members of the church that come and talk with me and visit with me and just see if there's anything I needed. The person has cooked meals. It just was an incredible period where I could kind of just remove myself from some of the responsibilities and focus on my relationship with God. And Chet has offered free counseling. I mean, I'm a believer in counseling. I'm a counselor, so I understand. I've had counselors over the years when different things came up in my life. But Chet has been willing to walk with me through a lot of different obstacles in my life, and for that I'm very grateful. I hope to be doing more with Ministry Village in the future, but I really want you to understand, and I'd be glad to answer any questions for you later, but I really, the work that they're doing, I also, just briefly, last week I went to Florida and had an opportunity to visit Ministry Village in Florida. And the work they're doing, I know we're not duplicating things, but God is moving in incredible ways, and I sense that, and I know that here as well. But I thank you, one and all, and Jimmy, I really thank you, and Chuck, thank you so much. God bless you.
It's been really neat to see the journey that John's been on and all that he's been through and the growth that he's had. John's become a good friend, and we're actually working on some things that I think will really help the Ministry Village moving forward. As John said, he actually teaches DUI classes and works with people who are drug and alcohol offenders, and we're working on putting together a program where we're going to be able to do drug and alcohol assessments there at the Ministry Village, and John will be conducting those. It's something that DFACS has asked us for years, but I think it's also going to be something that will really help with the other programs that we've got there. So it's kind of neat to see how God works to be able to bring things full circle. So looking forward to that. Just real quick, we are changing the way we're doing Project Jumpstart, and we're actually going to make it a 3-tiered program, because we've had so many applications for people that are wanting to come in and take advantage of Project Jumpstart, but some of them really aren't good candidates. Some people, if you're dealing with drug and alcohol addictions, a rehab facility is probably a better place for you. People that have serious psychological issues, probably an inpatient facility would be a better place for them. So, but anybody that comes to us will be able to get the basics. And when I say basics, I'm talking about food and clothing. So anybody that comes to us, we've got a partnership with Shepherd staff, and we send people there for food. We've got a clothes closet right there on site. We'll take care of their food and clothing needs. But the other thing we're doing, our interns, and we've got some incredible interns right now, but our interns have been working with me to put together a resource directory. So resource directory for all different types of services, homeless shelters, any type of issues that they may be facing that we can't take care of out there. We can be able to point them in the right direction. Rather than just saying, sorry, we can't help you, we can point them in the right direction. But there will be other people that really need somebody to walk alongside them, but they don't need the residential component. And so tier 2 will be people that we will come alongside. We'll help them do resumes. We'll help them with their job search. We've got a computer that's designated just for that. And we will offer them counseling. We'll give them all the services, but just not the residential part. But tier 3 will be the residential component. And people that are in Project Jumpstart in the residential portion, which is tier 3, we're really making a big investment in their lives. We're coming alongside them, and not just for a short period. It's not just a handout. We're going to come alongside them for a long period and help them as they walk through that journey to get back on their feet and get going. That is what we're hoping to do with that. What we really want to do is make a difference in our community. And I think that it's obvious we've been fortunate to be able to make a big difference in our community. Our community is an interesting community. We're a fairly small county, but the things that we see day in and day out are amazing. Joe and I were talking about a while ago, as a small county, some of the stuff that we've had come through from a legal standpoint has been just amazing. But we're blessed in Walton County to have a sheriff that is a member of the community, and not just a number. He's involved. He's involved in people's lives, and he cares about the community that he serves. I'm going to brag on him just a little bit, and then I'll bring him up. But I'm sure you all saw in the news, because it was a huge news story about the home invader that came in and the lady shot him. That was a big nationwide news story. But after that guy got out of the house and they apprehended him, Joe was wise enough to say, don't arrest him, because the guy was in a coma and he was going to be in the hospital for a while. But rather than the citizens of Walton County having to take on that man's medical bills, Joe didn't arrest him until he actually was stable, saving the citizens of Walton County thousands and thousands of dollars. And that's the kind of guy our sheriff is. He cares about the people that he serves in a lot of different ways. He cares about the financial aspect of it, but he cares about the people too, and he's looking out for us. So just want to brag him a little bit, then I'll bring our speaker up tonight, Sheriff Joe Chapman.
If I'm too loud with this, let me know. The Marine Corps took all this hearing and this hearing, and my wife's starting to take the rest of it. Thanks for having me here this evening. I'm out of my element. Normally when I'm talking to this many people, they're in cell block 10. They're not dressed as nice as you are. But I see my lawyer and my banker here, so I feel a little bit better. Sharon called me and asked me to come and speak to y'all tonight. And I said, well, Sharon, what do you want me to talk about? Bail bonding regulations, how to get somebody out of a barricaded house or what? She said, no, this would be a good chance to talk to everybody about the CAC, Child Advocacy Center. Does everybody know what that is? Do you know? That's a great, great thing in Walton County. And I was talking to Chet earlier, because I don't know how it got started. It was in its infancy when I first got elected as sheriff. And I'm almost certain that Nancy Burgess and Ken Wynn, who was the district attorney at the time, spearheaded this program. And I didn't know how Chet got involved in it. But he told me earlier, he's just one of these people that's begging for punishment. He goes around asking people what can he do for them. Well, he got a big chew in this program. I was telling Bill earlier, my wife really didn't care to come tonight because she volunteered to babysit our grandson, but when you talk about the CAC and a child's voice, there's nowhere to laugh, there's no fun in it anywhere. It's probably the worst part of my job that I hate dealing with. Getting a phone call early Christmas morning from my deputies at a house where a child's been beaten because he wet his pants. You know, that's tough to deal with. And that's what we deal with at the CAC. And Ronnie's gone, but Jimmy and Chet and everyone else, I have passion for my fellow man, but I kind of lose it when someone harms a child. You know, Jimmy and everyone, they're great counselors and they talk to them, but when I see this and when I see these children, I want to bash these people's face in it. There's no other way to tell it. So it's hard to juggle, but I keep my sanity and keep my distance, and I do what I can for that child, because that's the most important thing. And we have to gather evidence for these crimes, because it is a crime, and it's difficult. And the deputy we have assigned to do this, I don't know how she does it, to keep her sanity, but she does a great job. I don't know how Nancy Burgess does it. But that's what we get paid to do. That's what you've hired us to do. I don't quite understand sometimes why Chet and Jimmy jump in so deep, because they don't have to, but they do. And it's great for the community. And to explain how we used to do it, if a child was molested, sexually abused, anything, mistreated, we had to throw them in a patrol car, drive them to Eggleston in Atlanta, Georgia. And y'all know what a trip that can be sometimes. And you're dealing with a child that has been traumatized and other family members. And while I'm telling you this, think about your own children. Just think about it. You got to throw them in a patrol car. You got to drive them to Atlanta. They don't know where they're going. They don't know what is about to happen to them. They've already been traumatized. Now they got to go through a forensic investigation, which is difficult. I mean, I don't have to explain to you, but you have to gather evidence. And a child is put through this experience, and it's not a good thing, but we have to do it. We have to do it. We try to accommodate them the best we can, but we're even out of our element. It's someone else's will when we go out of county to another county or city. Well, the Child Advocacy Center, a child's voice, was started in Walton County, or the Alcova Judicial Circuit. The Alcova Judicial Circuit is Walton and Newton County. And Ken Wynn and Nancy and I don't know who all actually got this ball rolling, but it was like I say, just starting when I got elected sheriff, and they asked me to serve on the board, in which I gladly did. And we also had the chief of police at Covington on the board. So from a law enforcement perspective, well, and from a human being perspective, they wanted to start our own center here so that these children don't have to be hauled to Atlanta. We can take them a few minutes down the road to a more comfortable setting, if there's such a thing at that moment. But it is, because the Ministry Village provides a great setting for them. For the parent, for the child, and for us, that means a lot. And I just can't get into details, and we got a former prosecutor sitting right here, and he can tell you, you know, I see every child in my face at night when I go to bed, and he can do the same thing, I promise you, because it's the worst thing you have to do. But we do our best, and our district attorney's office is on the board, and they do great. But this program is wonderful for Walton County and Newton County too. And Ronnie, he thanked me when we first started eating, you thank me. I couldn't figure out what in the world was that for. I need to thank all of you. And I am thanking all of you because you make this happen. And it's real easy to sit on the sidelines and say what you ought to do and what they ought to do. Believe it or not, I get told all the time from everybody how to be sheriff. Everybody knows how to be sheriff. For the ministry village to jump in and do this in this community, it's unbelievable. I can't express how much it means to the people in Walton County. And probably 90% of the people in Walton County don't even know about it. Believe it or not, there's some terrible, mean, evil people in this world. And they do evil things to children. In 2009, I don't see too good, either, about as good as I hear. In 2009, we had 23 sexual assaults on children and 1 physical assault. 2010, we had 65 sexual assaults and 6 physical assaults on children. This is just Walton County. This doesn't include Newton. 2011, we had 83 sexual assaults. I'm sorry, 77 and 6 physical, for a total of 83. 2012, we had 82 sexual assaults on children and 11 physical assaults. And for 2013, we're already on track to surpass this last year. You know, we heard earlier from 2 experts on raising children. Well, I'm not an expert, but there's some people out there that don't need children. And it's just a shame that they do have them, and they don't know what to do, but when they do what they do, it's great to have people involved in the ministry village to help us do what we have to do. And what we have to do is put those people somewhere where they can't be around children. And like I said earlier, I don't always control myself well. And I got a lawyer sitting here too watching me, so I don't believe in violating anyone's civil rights. But someone that rapes a child or harms a child, I won't violate their civil rights, but I'll bend them as far as I can without breaking them, I promise you that. And we're going to put them somewhere where they need to be. We came out with the sex offender registry a few years back. There was some debate about that. It didn't really involve law enforcement when that bill came about. And I was at the Capitol and I was speaking on the sex offender registry, and I asked a question. First of all, the state said we couldn't keep everybody in prison all the time to put them on the registry. I said, well, I don't understand that. Someone that harms a child doesn't need to get out of prison to begin with. They need to stay in there. And I believe there are some people that say, you know, you can rehabilitate people. I think when you go to that level, there's no rehabilitation. Because you cause damage to a child for the rest of their life. And believe me, and they get the best counseling, but it's with them for the rest of their life. You hope they can grow out of it. And another thing, from the law enforcement side, we do our gathering evidence and arresting people and that whole thing, putting people in jail, and that's what we do. But we don't have any resources to go any further. We just don't have it. And that's where, again, the ministry village come in. Chet and Jimmy and all these counsel with these families, it's amazing what they do. And the most amazing thing to me is I'm not getting into your politics, but I tend to watch what's going on in the country. You know, our Christianity is under attack, I believe. But you don't see all these people that are attacking us jumping up to do the things that y'all are doing at the Ministry Village, which is amazing to me. And the government isn't doing it. No one's dumping out money to make all this happen. This is just someone that came up. I don't know why he did it again, but he just came up. What can we do? And got involved. And the question is, do you make a difference in the community? I'm here to tell you, as your sheriff, and as a resident, a father, and a grandfather, you are making a difference. I promise you from my heart. With all I got, you are making a tremendous difference, and I thank you for that. Again, Ronnie thanked me, and I don't know why. I'm here to say thank you, Jimmy, and thank all of you that get involved and help the community, because it means a lot. And in this day and time, and in my job, all I hear is cut, cut, cut. Sheriff, you got to cut here, cut here, cut here. We're cutting, but you people are jumping in, and you're doing something that's amazing for Walton County. And I know one asked you to do it, and it's not easy to do. This is probably the worst thing that they deal with. I can't think of anything more horrendous than this. And you're definitely making a strong difference, and I'm here to say thank you. And for everybody that's involved with the Ministry Village, let us know what we can do to help. Appreciate you asking us what can you do, but you let us know what we can do. And with that being said, they always tell me at Jeff Coates Barbershop, Sheriff, don't talk too long. People get tired and they're ready to go home and go to bed. I won't talk too long, but thank you for having me here. Sharon, I don't normally do this, but since it was for a child's voice, I couldn't say no. So I'm not a big speaker, as you can tell. I was on the news and I said did when I should have said done. Or I said done when I should have said did. And a lady emailed me from California and corrected me on my grammar. And I politely thanked her for her correction, but I let her know that I'm a county sheriff, not a college English major or anything like that. But I hope I didn't bore you. Thank you for inviting me here, and thank you for everything that you do for Walton County. Good night.
We are blessed to have a man of steel and velvet leading us here as our chief law enforcement officer in our county, and we do thank you, Sheriff Chapman, for your kind words, and appreciate all you do and what you stand for, and we're just grateful to have you. Just want to thank all of y'all again for being here tonight. I want to thank our board members. Your board member, raise your hand. Appreciate all of our board members that are here. God bless you. Fundraising committee members, we've got some of our resource development team. Y'all raise your hand. Miss Melanie's here. Some of our other folks, applause for them too. And then Sharon McLaughlin, we're Sharon. She put all this together and just couldn't do it without you. Thank you. She's our marketing specialist for the Ministry Village and just does so much behind the scenes. We see so many people. We're actually trying to pull together all of our statistics. It's hard for us to even know how many people that we serve because we've got 15 counselors and interns. Every one of them see people. They see people on site, but then they also see people at other places. And then we go into the public schools. We have groups. We have camps. We have all kind of different ways that we minister to people and help people. We're trying now. We got one of our interns that's working on that to find out. We're thinking that we may have served close to 5,000 different appointments last year, and so it's a joy to be able to see people walking in with tears coming down their eyes and grief, and they're wiping their face with a handkerchief. They go in and come out, and maybe an hour later, and there's peace on their face. They're smiling. They seem like that they're beginning to get together, and to see the healing that just takes place on a daily basis is amazing. And their appointments 7 days a week up there. So now Ronnie's got an office over there, and he's seeing his clients. He does marriage counseling, and he's over there too. And so it's just constant. We're actually even, the board is deliberating about even increasing our office hours on Monday to Friday to 8:30 to 6:30 p.m. because appointments go on into 9, sometimes even at 10 o'clock at night, where people are coming in and they've got to see somebody. We try to see somebody if they call. We try to get them seen, or at least get them an appointment within 24 hours. A lot of counseling centers, you may be a couple of weeks down the road to see somebody, but if you're threatening suicide or you've got something that you're just falling apart, you don't need to wait 2 or 3 weeks. You need to see somebody right now. We even sometimes even walk-ins just come in, and we'll try to find a counselor or somebody that will see you right away. We take Medicaid insurance. If you don't have that, we can allow you to pay according to your income, a sliding fee scale. But if you just don't have any way to pay, people that show up, we will see them and we will make sure that they are seen and taken care of. Because people like you buy $50 tickets to come to a banquet. People like you contribute. People like you support. People like you raise money. People like you, many of you even give monthly support to the Ministry Village. And that helps us so much to be able to do that we can be able to serve the people in our community without turning anyone away. So I just want to thank each and every one of y'all for being here tonight. Thank y'all for what you do. Thank you for your love, for your prayers, for your support. And look forward to even being able to serve more people even in the years to come. So let's all stand, if we will, and let's all bow our heads for prayer. And I just want to thank the Lord for each one of y'all. Heavenly Father, we're just grateful, Lord, that you did lead Chet Fowler, Lord, to walk away from a very lucrative career. Well, he just walked away from that, Lord, to give his life, Lord, in counseling and service to you and service to the people of our county. And thank you, Lord, for people like Judge Ken Wynn and Nancy Burgess that help facilitate the development of our ministries, and then these board members that helped us in so many ways to get started, and our pastor, who's our president, that gives so much support, and First Baptist Loganville that puts in so much money every year and every month into the budget. But we just are grateful that we can see lives change, families put back together, healing come to children and teenagers and individuals. And we're grateful, Lord, to see so many lives being improved and being touched, Lord. So, Father, we just pray that each one that's here would realize that they're a valuable piece of this great puzzle that's the Loganville Community Ministry Village. And that you'd help each of us, Lord, to work together to continue, Lord, to advance this great ministry. We thank you and praise you, Lord. So bless each one as we go back to our respective places. Bless us in our churches tomorrow. And just thank you for all that you're doing in our lives. In Jesus' name.